everybody, and welcome to another episode of Oculto 477 at home. My name is Carlo, and today we'll be making our version of a Ramos Gin Fizz. A fun fact about Ramos Gin Fizz, it was invented in the late 1800s in a bar called the Imperial Cabinet Saloon in New Orleans. It was very famous because to make this drink, you have to dry shake it for a very long time. Dry shake means that you're gonna shake it without ice. So it was very famous in this bar to build the cocktail, put it in a shaker without the ice, and then start shaking it and throwing it down the bar between bartenders so it gets shakes as much as possible. Today we're not going to do that, of course. I'm by myself, but I'm going to teach you a couple tricks to kind of get around that, still having the same effect. So in your kit this time, you'll have the following ingredients. We're going to have, of course, a gin. This time we'll be using Botanist. Botanist is definitely one of our favorite gins in the industry. It's made from a very famous Scotch producer, actually, in the Islay area of Scotland, where most of the most peaty scotches come from. The second ingredient you'll be finding is a fortified cream we make in-house. It's not probably the most traditional way of making a Ramos Fizz, but to cut corners here at the bar, try to make things a little bit more efficient, and as well makes it even more delicious. We basically fortify the milk 2-to-1 with white sugar, and then we use a little bit of vanilla extract. So this is basically both your sweetener and your cream in the cocktail. The next ingredient in your cocktail is going to be both lime and lemon. I like to do this because it kind of bridges a little bit the pH of both of these two ingredients, and it gets a little softer when you make a cream cocktail. So let's start making our drink. If you've seen any of our previous videos, you'll probably know by now that you need to grab the vessel that you'll be using and fill it up with ice just to allow the glass to chill a little bit while you are building your drink. I'm going to take the chance as well to describe the type of glass that you should be using. Anything of this sort that is kind of thin and long. Nothing too big. I wouldn't recommend anything over 12 ounces. This will allow enough space to lift that head that we're talking about over the rim of the glass. So we will be shaking our cocktail today. I'll be using a 2-piece shaker, of course, but you're very welcome to use anything that you find at home that can accommodate enough ice and oxygen to actually help the emulsification that will be happening with the dry shake. If you want to use the actual tools that pros use, you're very welcome to get them at Collins and Coops. It's a local shop here in San Diego. I'm going to put the link below. We've been collaborating with them to put together a little basic kit just in case you want to use all these tools at home. All right, so I'm going to move this just so you can see what I'm doing. If you have seen our previous videos, we always start with the cheapest ingredient. I always highly recommend that just in case you make a mistake, you're gonna throw out something that is not booze. But in this case, I'm gonna go a little bit back and forth. I'm gonna try to be as quick as possible because the more I leave the dairy and the proteins of the egg cooking in the acid of the citrus and of course the alcohol of the gin, it's gonna get in the way of your beautiful presentation of this cocktail. So, like I said, we are gonna go with 2 ounces of our fortified 2-to-1 cream. Let that drip, very thick. Then what I like to do is rinse off that cream with our gin. We're gonna do 2 ounces. And then really quickly, we're gonna add a 1/4 ounce of lemon, 1/4 ounce of lime. And then I've been doing this for a long time, but please feel free to crack this in another bowl separately. Separate the separate the yolk with the white, and then add the white to the drink. I'm gonna crack this on a flat surface, and I'm gonna crack the egg, keeping the yolk inside of the shell, allowing the white to freely drop inside the tin. Now, like I said before, there's some tricks to kind of get around that very long shake. What I like to do is still close your shaker, like I said, no ice. Give it a dry shake, like we were saying. And then crack it open. Try not to make a mess in your kitchen. And then grab just a few ice cubes. I would say probably 2 or 3, depending on the size, as much as the liquid is covering the ice. If there's too much ice, it's gonna basically substitute that space with oxygen. And less oxygen in your tin means less emulsification. We seal that tightly. I like to give it a little wipe just in case there's some cream outside of it, and then shake it as hard as you can.
A few moments later.
What's gonna happen is that you're gonna feel those few ice cubes melting and disappearing in your shaker. Once you feel that there is a very small amount of ice left, you're probably done. Now, whew, I gotta catch my breath after that shake. Discard your ice. I'm gonna use Topo Chico today, but you can use any kind of bubbly water. Put a little bit on the bottom of your glass. Grab your strainer and gently pour it over that soda, allowing it to rest. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna let this sit for a little bit. You can add a little bit more soda just to bring it to the rim. You see already that little corner lifting there. That's already a good sign. Little trick that I like to do is grab a straw, poke a little hole right at the beginning, or I mean right in the middle. So this will help the soda water to flow freely right in the middle of the drink, pushing up that head. Just like that. Then we grab a fresh lemon and we press that over the head. I like to discard it just because if I put it over the foam, it's just gonna basically collapse it. Then you can grab a straw, put it straight in that hole, and here we go. This is the Oculto Ramos Fizz. And this is all for this episode of Oculto at Home. Thank you for following us. Please subscribe and click on that bell for any notification of a new video coming out. Please stay at home and stay safe.